Stop listening to the chat. On Friday, I said, um, I'm swinging shorts, right? Tesla triggers this on Friday. I'm swinging shorts. And I mentioned that it was like a little bit degen, but only slightly, right? Swinging next week cons on a Friday are how I get the 2000% trades that I do, you know? So if I see the trade set up on a Friday, then I'll swing next week contracts. So then the question was like, what do I see? And I said, see the shooter on the week on Tesla. I wanted that to trigger and hit the two pivots below. So that looks like this. I'm so frustrated right now just because of this. So Tesla had a 122 on the week, right? So the two pivots below would be here. Hold on. Would be here and here. Right? And then maybe this one. So this blue line, let me make this blue for ease. Okay, so the big blue lines, right, would be where I would want to see it. Okay. So it triggers this week, this 122, hits this target, hits this target, maybe hits this one. Okay. So I said the two pivots below, so I meant this one and this one. This one's a maybe. Okay. But ultimately, probably, because that would be the bottom of a Browning formation. That's what I wanted. So, that's why yesterday I had so much conviction on Tesla. I was like, if you watch my video from yesterday, it's actually really important because I was taking a loss because I had so much conviction on a trade, um, and because the trade was sort of shaking, I that was also sort of shaking my confidence over time, right? Because initially I was like, it doesn't matter, like I'm not getting out of this trade because Tesla was such a good setup, right? So I want them to dump Tesla, and then I also mentioned yesterday morning that those swings, right? I was already in the 290 puts at 86 and the 285s at 63. Okay? So that's what I was looking at. I just wanted to trade Tesla yesterday. Um, and then let's see. Right. I was in Tesla today. I wanted it to go so badly. It was the perfect. This is my setup. This is my trade. Um, right. I wasn't going to get out regardless. I've been waiting to short Tesla since Friday. The setup is there. The 60 is good, right? So I know what I want. I know I want to short Tesla. I've looked at the charts. I see the trade. All I have to do is wait for it to happen. That's it. Like, not even asking myself for too much. Just, you see it? Just wait for it. What I did, however, was I got into the chat, listened to the chat, people are talking about they're going to, now the words can't even come to me. What is it? They're like releasing the new cards or something. I can't even remember, right? And so that could be bullish. I think they had a terrible quarter, but you never know, right? Like that news, that could be bullish. Also, because it triggered the week barely yesterday, there was conversation in the chat about, well, now it can go outside week, which is true, right? They're releasing these cards. They have potential good news. They could release, this could flip green and go outside week. Very possible. And so listening to the chat, seeing my trade, seeing my Tesla, let me show where my re-entry was. Re-entries here, right? Purple line. I know I have lots of lines, but the purple line's my re-entry, right? Inside hour. Tesla comes down, it comes back up. What did I do on Tesla? I don't know how to see my history. Maybe this? It doesn't matter. So I got into the 280s yesterday for like 42 cents. And then I got out at break even. And part of that, right? I was so willing to take a loss on Tesla. Like I think I was down 35%. I was like, I do not care how low this goes. I am taking this trade. This is my trade, right? I had so much conviction on it. And being in the chat, and this is no one's fault but mine, right? Being in the chat, listening to people's theories, thinking about, maybe this, maybe that, made me sell a different contract for break even. And that's all on me. That's all on me, right? And so all I really want this video to show and to say is, if it's your trade, take the trade. There's no reason for anyone to talk you out of your trade. So what is Tesla doing now? Why am I so frustrated? I'm frustrated because I exited this trade. The first one I exited for a loss. The second one I exited for break even. And I'm waking up to Tesla being down, what is that? $15-ish. It's already hit my first target, right? This was my target one. This blue line, remember? Right? And this was my target two. It's well on its way to my second target. But this gap down, right? And I said, this is how you make those 2000% trades. I know how to do this. I am fine doing this. I am good at doing this. I understand, pardon me. I understand the swing strategy. I have no issues swinging. It was literally me, first of all, getting in the trade a little too early and having to sit through some back and forth. And two, reading the chat and hearing other people's thoughts and theories on my trade is what got me out of this trade. And that is 100% my fault. I am not blaming anyone else for that. But the point of this video is you got to get out of the chat. I know that I've had conversations with people privately about the overwhelm that they feel in the chat, or someone else's trade that they're taking in the chat. Listen, the chat is very helpful and I love being in it, right? Like, I have a lot to say. I say all the things all the time. But there has to be a point where you say, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or says, this is my trade, right? And I usually can do that. I don't know. And sometimes I can't, But to wake up and to see Tesla down $15 when I had so much conviction about this short yesterday is really difficult for me. Like, I may not trade today. I'm just so kind of frustrated. But I just want to encourage anyone who is in the chat, being shaken by the chat. Everyone here is around to be helpful and everyone here is quite kind. But you have to always be willing to take your trade and not let anyone shake you from that. And to be fair, like, it was also a bit of price action. I didn't love how, like, what was going on at the end of the day. But ultimately, I even said, right, like, it didn't matter. I'm not getting out of the trade. I wasn't going to get out regardless. Like, it doesn't matter. I want to short this, And if you have that much conviction and you're wrong, just take your loss. And that's how I trade. And then, other people in the chat, right? So that's at like 2 p.m.-ish. So then I'm reading the chat. Tesla's a bit shit now. The week could flip green, right? I'm less excited about it. That's crazy. No, I am excited about it. This is my trade. This has been my trade since last Friday. So this was just a PSA, I guess. Sometimes, it's also a personal issue. You got to be strong enough with your own conviction on what you're doing. So now I have to figure out a way to get into Tesla. I sold the 280s for like 41 cents, I believe it was, or 42, something like that. I'm going to wake up and those are going to be around $400, $300 or $400. I can use the calculator thing, but that's just my guess. So, yeah, I hope you guys can take this to heart, and also, not that I'm blaming anyone. I do want that to be clear, but the chat is good for so many things, but it also has its negatives. You got to stay true to what you know and how you trade.